owner of Grace and Goods Boutique.
And I'm Shelby, the owner of the Aria Event Studio.
And this is the Business Bestie podcast. All right, so today we're going to talk about some heavier topics because we all know that business is not always sunshine and rainbows, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We do have tough times. Speaking of, Shelby just had a really awful thing happen to her boutique, so she's going to kind of tell us about that situation and how she's dealing with that.
Yeah, so we just had a fire at the boutique. Well, not in the boutique. It was a business that was 2 down from us. And so it caused us quite a bit of damage. So, that's never a phone call that you want to get on a Sunday at noon.
No.
And, we're not trained for these things. So unless you've experienced them, which most people haven't, it's kind of like, okay, what do I do first? Who do I call? How do I navigate this? Am I gonna be closed for a couple days? Am I gonna be closed for a week? Am I gonna be closed for 4 to 6 weeks? All these things start flowing through your head. And so for us, it's a slow process first off too when you have to deal with insurance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so right now we're just trying to really just navigate like what those next steps are, because you have to think of like your employees, these people are now out of work. Like, how are we gonna get paid? What's gonna happen to all of our clothing? So really just taking it one day at a time. But in business, we all have obstacles. And again, we're not trained for them. And they really can be anything. It can be an employee who no call, no shows, or shows up late. It can be vendors if you're a boutique. Like you know how that is dealing with different vendors.
Several orders that you place the order and you're hoping that it's going to be here on time, like the ship date, and then you'll have them change the ship date, and then maybe it was supposed to be a launch for an event you had planned, and then you have to put it off. So yes, I've definitely ran into that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's dealing with other business owners, and we just don't have any way of controlling those things. And so, like I mentioned, there's no way to train for them. I mean, really, the best thing you can do is just take them one at a time, one day at a time.
Yeah. You say it's out of your control, so obviously when these things happen, we're going to get upset, we're going to get angry, we're going to get scared, we're going to get worried, etc. You can't control your emotions, but you can control your behavior, how you react, and your actions.
The best thing I feel like too is your first instinct is, like you said, to get upset. But in this situation, I'm just trying to look at it as positively as possible. I mean, you have to, otherwise you're gonna be crying in a corner.
For real.
So with the boutique, I'm like, okay, yay, we get to paint the walls, we get a nice deep clean, we might get new rugs, so just looking at it in just the best that you can. That's really all we can do.
We all have to decorate and redesign and all that stuff. That's so cool that you're looking at it like that, because I know the funnest part about my boutique was putting it all together and decorating it. So you guys get kind of a second chance.
We get to kind of start over. But as far as obstacles go, I definitely feel like it's how you handle them. So like you said, was it if you handle it negatively or if you look at it as a positive? I think that's going to define who you are as a person, who you are as a business owner, and I think that will be what makes you really successful. And if you can come out of an obstacle better and a learned lesson, I think that's just only going to help you kind of along the way. I know we talked about that with Olivia, and I think just the journey is what really makes you, a good entrepreneur. And learning from those mistakes and obstacles.
I think it's also important that you have a good customer base that's really there for you, because I know Flawless and Hepcat, your boutique, has so many women that just love you guys to death, and I saw all the comments and the support on your post when you had to make the announcement, so that kind of helps.
And they're ready, they're already ready. I'm like, it's been 2 weeks.
They're like, where's my clothes?
I know. So we'll throw a big party at the end, and when we reopen, so I think that'll be really fun and exciting and something to look forward to. So that definitely is kind of helping us get through all this. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. We're gonna figure it out. We have to. We don't have another option. You have to figure it out. So just moving forward. So I know you kind of have had some issues in your unit with your landlord and things like that. So how did you deal with that?
So we didn't have heat when winter got here. So I'm coming up on a year of having the brick and mortar. So this was my first winter there. I had no idea the heat wasn't gonna work. It was like 2 weeks I had been hounding him like, hey, my heat's not working, please come fix it or do whatever you need to do. And at this point we were like getting into winter and it was 40 degrees in my store. Nobody's going to shop in 40-degree weather.
Well, like try clothes on, you're like naked, just like shivering.
Yeah. And I had like events scheduled, like in-store events, and I had to move the date or cancel them because I'm like, again, nobody is going to want to be in here when it's 40 degrees. I'm not a confrontational person. I'm definitely a let things go until they kind of work themselves out. But this was becoming a problem that I had to face head on and find my voice and stand up for myself, which I finally did. And I did that with help of Business Besties. I reached out to my office manager at my 9 to 5, and I'm like, I've never dealt with this. I've never been a business owner. I've never had like to deal with a landlord or any issues like this. Can you please help me deal with this in a professional manner? And she kind of walked me through what to say and what to do. And I ended up like getting my landlord to come and fix it finally. And get a discount on my rent, which was huge. So
well, like just standing up for yourself, you know. And again, you've now learned that along your journey, and I feel like you'll be able to continue to use that, you know, when things come up and you found your voice. And use your voice, girl.
That's something I've always struggled with, but you're gonna own a business, you better be tough.
You have to, because people will take advantage of you. And even kind of going back to like the vendors and, you know, with shipping is ridiculously high right now. And I think, you know, I'm never scared to ask for a discount. It's funny, my business partner with the boutique will be at market. And I'm like, so, you know, you're going to give us like 10% off? And she's like hiding. She's like, I can't believe you asked that. I'm like, the worst thing they're going to say is no.
My dad tells me that all the time. Because I'm that person who I'm like, no, I'm not going to bother them. I'm not going to ask that question. He's like, ask the question. The worst thing is no. If it's yes, then you're getting something out of it.
Exactly. Or like in the beginning, you know, when we would have like somebody send us like the wrong thing or whatnot, I was like, no, we're gonna email them. We're gonna tell them they sent us the wrong thing. They're gonna pay for the shipping, and then they're gonna resend us and give us a discount for the inconvenience, you know? So it's just, again, until you've got like had that experience and you know, sometimes you have to deal with it before you figure it out, and that kind of stinks. But
for sure. And I think that's when your support system kind of comes in handy. So here at the RA, your other business, your main business now, it's just you. You're a one-woman show, but I know you have people you lean on. So can you like kind of talk about that a little bit?
So with Flawless, I have a business owner, and I've been with her for 6 years now, and that's great, right? Because we have different strengths and weaknesses, or you know, if somebody wants to go on vacation, or you know, I don't know how to handle a situation, or times are just tough. You know, we have each other to lean on. But yeah, at the RE, it's just me. I have my husband, and he definitely listens to me complain or cry or whatever. But at the end of the day, he doesn't know what it's like to really be, you know, a business owner. And so it's been really nice. I've kind of just attracted this little circle and created this little circle. And I feel like all of my business besties are in different industries. But yet we all still have the same issues or obstacles, or you know, we all have those bad days. And so it's been really nice to kind of create that circle, and I think that is one of the most important things you can have as a business owner, is a support system.
I agree.
So like you were saying with your 9 to 5, you have somebody there that helped you with this business. So I definitely think the support system is super helpful.
I agree. And I think that you've done a great thing creating an event called the Grow and Socialize, the women's networking event that you do. Do you do it every month or every 3 months?
So it's every 3 months. So we held the very first one in October, and we sold out, like day of, sold out. And I know, I only wanted to sell half my tickets, and we sold out, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've done something, I've created something. And then we had another one in January, and that one sold out about 3 weeks before the event was held. And all the way up those last 3 weeks, people were emailing, calling, submitting requests on my website. People were reaching out like, how do I get a ticket? And it made me really sad to have to, you know, turn them away. But I want it to be, that event specifically, to be intimate. It's hard to talk to anybody, you know, to throw yourself in a room full of 100 people. So we kind of cap it so that way it's a little bit less intimidating, and make it a little bit more lively and fun. So you're not just sitting at a table, and it just makes you, let loose a little bit, which then in turn I feel like makes you more comfortable to talk to people you don't know. So.
Yeah, I've attended 2 of them, and I already bought my ticket for the 3rd one.
Yep,
so
the
I'll
next
be
one's
there
coming
too.
up.
Yes, and I agree. It's a very intimate setting. You take away a lot of knowledge from the speakers, but you're also relighting your fire and getting that excitement back in your business.
Yes.
So that's a good thing that you can acquire from that networking event, along with making a Business Bestie.
Yes.
If you don't know, that is where Business Bestie started.
Yep.
She wanted women to find the courage at these events to make at least one Business Bestie.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a beautiful thing that you've done for women.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really excited. I hope to continue to have them, and if they keep selling out, I'm thinking about, like, do I make it like a 2-night thing, or maybe every other month, or like a smaller one in between. So we'll get that figured out so more people can attend and more Business Besties can be found. But going back to that, I have a Business Bestie. She is in a very niche industry, and this is something that she has created from the ground up. And she has an amazing circle of friends, but I don't think she has a lot of entrepreneurial friends. And so I know she's been struggling a lot with that lately, and juggling, social media, and being a mom, and being a wife, and a business owner, and an accountant, and all of those things. And I tell her all the time, when you're having a bad day, just reach out to me, just call me. Like, you're not inconveniencing me. That's what I'm here for. Send me a text. And a couple months ago, I was having a really bad day. Like, it just seemed like it was a bad week, and it was just like it kept piling on. And in that moment, I thought of her. I don't know why. I just thought of her, and I was like, she needs to know she's not alone. She needs to know that some of us who people think have it together, like, we don't. We all have bad days. And so in that moment, I was like, I need to send her a voice message. And it wasn't because I wanted her to tell me everything was going to be okay, or get have a pity party. It was because I needed her to know that she wasn't alone. And I explained to her how I was having a bad day, and it was over things that I couldn't control. And it happens to all of us. And the best thing you can do is when something like that happens, instead of spiraling out of control, reach out to somebody. And so it was a little bit of a longer message than that, but her response was, she was like, I can't even send you a voice message back because I'm crying. Yeah. And she goes, I don't know what in the universe told you to send that to me on today, but she's like, that is everything I needed and more. She was like, I was having a horrible day, and like, that just saved me. And so then I was crying, and we went back and forth, and I just reminded her, when you're having a bad day, call me. I will always be here for you. And then it was last week, I believe, she texted me, and she said, I hope this doesn't sound weird, but I saved your voice message because when I have a bad day, I listen to it. And she's like, today was one of those days, and I just wanted to let you know, I appreciate you, and this is helping. So again, like, I knew her in the past, but kind of like at that networking event and just like talking to her more, I was able to do that for her. And so I feel like, networking and finding those people who can be their true self to you, and you can be your true self to them, is just so important. So
that's very beautiful, and it just speaks on how important the human connection is. We all need people. We need to be kind to others, to reach out a helping hand. We're all going through something. So just being that shoulder to lean on for people is so important. Finding a business bestie, or just someone you can vent to, and someone that will say, hey, I'm going through it too.
Yeah, and not judge, and just listen. Like, sometimes it's like, I'm not looking for advice, or, you know what I mean? I just want to listen. Yeah, it'll be all right. Yeah, it's hard. But like you said, you don't ever know what someone is going through. And I know Grace mentioned this too in our previous episode about, someone might just be having a bad day, and that's why they're coming off snarky or mean, but you don't really know, And so I think it's really important to just be, like you said, kind and have our little circle.
Yes, so this week kind of was a tough week for me. I was getting ready to open my second location, the Paint and Tree booth.
Yeah.
We had 2 episodes to film for the podcast, and I'm still editing the previous one that we filmed before. I had to meet with my branding photographer this morning, and I'm not feeling the best.
Yeah.
I've been a little bit sick. And then there's some things going on at my 9 to 5 that's out of my control that are creating a little bit more stress as well. So it's just like things felt like it was piling on, and I actually did break down and cry. Yesterday morning at work in the bathroom, but you know, I did it for 5 minutes, and then I said, all right, suck it up.
Pull it together.
We've got things to do.
Yeah.
And I reached out to a coworker, and I got a hug from her. She told me, hey, I'm so proud of you. You know, you work so hard, and I see you, and everything's gonna be fine. You got this. And that was just so encouraging, so helpful. I know me and you have reached out to each other in like hard times, and comforted each other and let us know, like, you're a boss, babe.
Yep,
You got this. Look at what you've done, because I know it's so hard to like acknowledge your accomplishments when you keep setting the bar higher after every single one. But I always say, like, just look back at yourself a year ago. Do you want to trade places with them? No. You like where you're at. So we're doing
better. We're growing. It's like sometimes I feel like too, a lot of times when you acknowledge, you know, like what you're doing or you're proud of something, sometimes it feels a little selfish. And I feel like too, you know, society says, you know, like that's not okay. Like, and so sometimes, you know, I don't always, I feel like, take credit for like what I do. And you know, in my other business, I have a business partner, and so you know, obviously we both put in a ton of work to that, but I just was really feeling like I needed something of my own, and I'm like, you know what, I am going to be selfish, and I am going to be proud of what I have built, and I am going to gloat about it a little bit, and I'm going to own it. And so I think it's really important to remember that we're boss babes, we've got this.
Well, okay, I've enjoyed talking about all this. I know it's a little bit heavier of a topic than we usually do, but like I said, business isn't always cookie cutter, pretty, you know, making everything look good and sound good. There's real behind the scenes moments that we all struggle with, and we all need a helping hand, and we all need a business bestie.
So with all of that being said too, guys, if there's anything specific that you have questions on, whether that's like Ashley and her life or what she's doing, or me and my business, feel free to comment on those below, because we will have a couple more episodes coming out that, you know, we would love to be able to give you guys what you want and make those connections with you too. So
agreed. So let's cheers to being boss babes and business besties.
Alrighty. Cheers.
See you guys next Monday at 8.